In this video, you will discover what porn is actually doing to the human brain. How it traps the mind inside powerful addiction loops. But the brain does not understand the difference between natural reward and artificial stimulation. To the brain, a powerful dopamine spike simply means one thing. Repeat it again and again and again and again and again. At first, it feels like a choice, but slowly, the brain begins building stronger neural pathways. Habits slowly turn into routines. Routines then turn into compulsions. And before a person realizes what is happening, their brain has already built a powerful reward loop. This is why many people begin noticing something strange. Their focus becomes weaker. Motivation slowly disappears into the void. Real life begins to feel less exciting because the brain has adapted to extremely high stimulation, and normal experiences can no longer compete. Neuroscientists call this dopamine desensitization. Over time, the brain reduces its sensitivity to reward signals, which means the same stimulation that once felt exciting now feels normal, and the brain begins searching for something stronger, and then something much more intense, something far harder to resist. But the most disturbing discovery scientists have made is not just about dopamine. It is about how repeated exposure can slowly reshape the brain itself, changing the way people think, feel, and even connect with others. And the next secret researchers discovered about the brain is even more unsettling. Scientists studying the brain began noticing something unusual. When certain habits are repeated again and again, the brain does not stay the same. It adapts. Neural pathways change, connections grow stronger, and slowly, the brain begins reorganizing itself around the behavior. A young university student once described his experience in a research interview. At first, he thought it was simply a habit he could control. It was supposed to be something temporary, something he could quit, but over time, he began noticing something strange. He could no longer concentrate on studying for long periods. His attention drifted constantly, and the activities that once excited him began to feel dull. One night, he decided to stop completely. He turned off his computer, closed his phone, and tried to sleep. But then, something completely unexpected happened in the silence. His mind refused to relax. Thoughts kept returning. Images replayed in his memory. It was as if his brain had already learned a pattern, and now it was demanding repetition. Neuroscientists explain this through a process called neuroplasticity. The human brain constantly reshapes itself based on repeated behaviors. The more often a behavior is repeated, the stronger the neural pathway becomes, until eventually, the threshold is crossed forever. The brain begins triggering the behavior automatically. Another young man described something even more disturbing. He said the hardest part was not stopping the habit. It was realizing how much it had already affected his life. His motivation disappeared. His confidence dropped, and real relationships began to feel more difficult because his brain had slowly become used to artificial stimulation. But the most shocking discovery scientists made about the brain is what happens when the habit continues for years, because repeated stimulation can begin changing something even deeper: the brain's decision and self-control center. And that discovery is where the story becomes even more disturbing. Earlier, we discovered something disturbing. Repeated stimulation can slowly weaken the brain's self-control center, the prefrontal cortex. Researchers found that chasing high dopamine stimulation trains the brain to seek the behavior, making resistance harder over time. But one student realized something powerful. The brain that learned the habit can also unlearn it through the power of neuroplasticity. When stimulation stops, the dopamine system slowly stabilizes. This recovery process is known as a dopamine reset. By building new routines, you can retrain your brain. No matter how deep the habit, the human brain can always change.
The human brain may fall into habits, but it also has an incredible ability to recover.
Scientists call this ability neuroplasticity.
The brain is constantly reshaping itself, which means the same brain that learned the addiction can also learn discipline and control again. The university student we mentioned earlier decided to test this idea. Instead of trying to fight the habit with willpower alone, he changed his environment to support his new goals. He removed all major distractions from his life. He strictly limited his daily screen time and replaced the habit with healthier routines. At first, the urges were strong, but slowly, his brain began adapting again. Neuroscientists explain that when harmful stimulation stops, the brain begins recalibrating its dopamine system. Healthy activities like intense exercise, continuous learning and mental curiosity, and having meaningful social interactions start producing natural dopamine again. Slowly, motivation returns, focus improves, and the brain begins rediscovering balance. But perhaps the most powerful change happens inside the mind. When people begin taking control of their habits, their confidence grows. They realize something important. The brain may create powerful urges, but those urges do not define who you are, because the same brain capable of addiction is also capable of discipline. The truth is, the human brain is incredibly powerful. It can create habits that feel impossible to break. But it can also rebuild itself, stronger than before. And in the final part of this video, we will reveal the most important lesson scientists have discovered about the brain. A lesson that could change the way you think about control, discipline, and the future of your mind.
By now you have seen how habits can slowly reshape the brain, how dopamine can trap the mind inside powerful loops, and how repeated stimulation can weaken the brain's control system. But here is the most important discovery neuroscientists have made. The brain is not fixed, it is constantly changing. Every thought, every habit, every decision is shaping the brain you will have tomorrow. This means something powerful. No matter how long a habit has existed, the brain can still rebuild itself. When someone begins choosing healthier routines, new neural pathways start forming. Focus returns. Motivation grows stronger. And slowly, the brain begins reclaiming control. The most successful people in the world understand one simple truth about the brain. Discipline is not about fighting your mind. It is about training your mind. Every time you resist a destructive habit, you strengthen the brain's control center. Every time you choose a better action, your brain becomes stronger. And slowly, the person you want to become starts taking shape. Months later, the university student noticed something surprising. His focus returned, his energy improved, and the things that once seemed impossible no longer controlled him. Because he had discovered something most people never realize. The brain may create powerful urges, but the brain also gives you the power to change them. Your brain is the most powerful system in your entire life. It creates your thoughts, your motivation, your dreams. But the future of your mind is not decided by your habits. It is decided by your choices. Every day you make a decision to strengthen your brain or weaken it. And the most powerful truth about the human brain is this: the mind that built the habit is the same mind that can break it. The future of your mind is in your control. The future of your mind is in your control.